Good evening. MPs have branded former executives of the collapsed Wolverhampton construction firm Karelian as delusional in their handling of the finances of the company. The firm was put into liquidation 3 weeks ago, and so far 800 redundancies have been made. Doubts remain about the future of pensions, the support for contractors and the completion of major projects. Chris Halpin reports.
When Wolverhampton-based construction giant Karelian went into liquidation 3 weeks ago, it revealed a £587 million black hole in the pension pot, debts of £900 million and halted work on Birmingham's Paradise Circus redevelopment and the huge new Midland Metropolitan Hospital in Smethwick.
We're discussing a disaster.
Today, 7 former top bosses at the now-defunct company faced the wrath of MPs as to why it failed so spectacularly.
What's your responsibility for this collapse?
Full and complete.
Total?
Total. We went into the year with too much debt. Management was focused on bringing it down. We'd been told, we'd been given a forecast that it would come down. It didn't come down. And because we didn't have that wiggle room, that was a very significant factor in the end result.
First of all, just can I say how devastating the impact the failure of Karelian has been for employees, for customers, for pensioners and for suppliers.
So far, 800 people have been made redundant and the futures of subcontractors all over the country have been thrown into doubt. One of them is Lark Construction, based in Ashby-de-la-Zouch.
It says at the bottom that construction giant went into liquidation threatening 43,000 jobs worldwide. That's just Karelian jobs, not their supply chain.
Its boss watched on today in the hope to hear why a contract he believed would make his business nearly broke it.
It's incredibly frustrating. I just feel that the last 4 years of effort trying to build this business where it has just been literally pulled out from under my feet overnight.
It was the Midland Metropolitan Hospital he was working on. James is still trying to claw back all of the £200,000 he's owed. Staff have been let go and James can't get the hired equipment back from the locked hospital site, costing them around £14,000 a week.
We haven't been able to take all the guys back on that we have been using. We've managed to take some back on. No longevity of work at the moment because obviously we're searching for work that we thought we already had in the pipeline. We're now infilling that gap.
After the 4-hour grilling, the committee slammed the former bosses for playing a blame game, criticising their many excuses ranging from Brexit to the Bank of England, the business culture of the Middle East to the snap general election. They were all described as a series of delusional characters who maintained that everything was hunky-dory until it all went suddenly and unforeseeably wrong. This failure of a huge firm leaving scores of companies like James Crisp's uncertain there is now any way forward after Karelian's catastrophic collapse. Chris Halpin, ITV News, Ashby-de-la-Zouch.
Investigations are continuing after the home of an 83-year-old woman was burgled in Birmingham. The intruders were caught on CCTV as they raided the woman's home on Ragley Drive in Sheldon yesterday morning. Police say the men claimed to work for the gas board to gain entry. The burglars tried to cover their tracks by stealing the CCTV equipment, but the footage was obtained from a central database. A teenager has been cleared of murdering a man who was stabbed in a nightclub in Stourbridge. 24-year-old Ryan Passy died when he was knifed in the heart in Chicago's nightclub last August. 19-year-old Kobe Murray from Dudley was also acquitted of an alternative count of manslaughter after a jury accepted that he did not intend to harm Ryan Passy. A senior counter-terrorism officer at West Midlands Police who was fined by a court after top-secret documents were stolen from his car is to appear before a disciplinary panel. Assistant Chief Constable Marcus Beale has been called to a special case hearing at the Forces headquarters next Tuesday to answer an allegation of gross misconduct. It comes after he pleaded guilty to a charge of failing to safeguard information under the Official Secrets Act at Westminster Magistrates Court in December. Birmingham has been ranked second on the list of the country's most congested cities outside of London. The A34 in Birmingham has the unenviable honour of being the busiest road outside the capital. Motorists in the city spend 9% of their total drive time sitting in congestion. And on average, drivers spend 44 hours in gridlock. It's thought to cost the city more than £600 million. Meanwhile, a public consultation will begin today for people to decide which option to choose for a bypass through Hereford. The council says it would reduce the journey times across the city northbound by 8 minutes and southbound by 5 minutes. The consultation ends on the 20th of March. The Dudley-born England international Duncan Edwards was remembered today in his hometown on the 60th anniversary of the Munich air disaster. At 3:04, the exact moment the plane carrying the Manchester United team crashed on the runway, the Mayor of Dudley laid a wreath at the statue of Duncan Edwards. It was followed by a minute's applause for the 21-year-old who died along with 7 teammates.
Duncan Edwards epitomises all that was good of the youth of his era, and Duncan Edwards was a marvellous role model for everybody that was around him. And it's a poignant moment for us. It was Duncan's 80th birthday, would have been his 80th birthday last year. 60 years today at exactly 3:04 p.m. And it was right that we come and commemorate this time and remember not only Duncan but all the other people that lost their lives in that crash.
Meanwhile, the life and legacy of Cyril Regis will be celebrated at Coventry Cathedral next month. The Bishop of Coventry announced the service will take place on March the 4th. Regis, who was part of the Sky Blue side which won the FA Cup in 1987, died after suffering a heart attack last month. And staying with football, Birmingham City are out of the FA Cup after losing a 4th round replay to Huddersfield Town. Birmingham took the lead early in the second half through Shay Adams. The visitors equalised shortly after, forcing the game into extra time. Huddersfield scored 3 more in that period, winning the game 4-1. It's 100 years ago today that women were first able to vote. It took years of protest and the vote was only given to women who were 30 and owned property. Emmeline Pankhurst was the figurehead and the most famous of the women, but many of the suffragettes who helped change politics were from the Midlands. Among them, Hilda Burkitt from Birmingham. She was jailed 6 times, once for burning down a hotel in 1914 in Felixstowe. She was force-fed while in prison at Winson Green. Emma Sproson from Wolverhampton was a key figure in the fight for women's equality. She went to prison for attempting to storm the Houses of Parliament with the Pankhurst sisters. An exhibition currently at the Wolverhampton Art Gallery features her story. Maud Kate Smith from Acox Green in Birmingham was also jailed on a number of occasions for smashing windows in London and slashing a nude painting. She too was force-fed after going on hunger strike. And this weekend, Alice Hawkins, who was born in Stafford, was honoured with a statue in Leicester. Alice worked in a shoe factory in the city and campaigned for equal pay. She went to prison 5 times. Well, 2 prominent local women in politics have today spoken about the significance.
My final number, my lords, is 276. A postcard with that number printed on it arrived on my desk last year, and it took me a while to work out what it meant. 276 is my number, my place in the history of women elected to the British Parliament, which was when I was first elected in 2005.
It was only a small number of women who could vote all those years ago. You had to be at the age of 30. And my mother, by law, couldn't vote until she was 30. She could, by law, she left school at the age of 13. By law, she could work into the mill, work in a mill, which she did. By law, she could marry at a certain time and have children and bring up a family and all those responsibilities, but she couldn't vote until she was 30. That was a crime as far as I was concerned.
The campaign to get Channel 4 to move to Birmingham gathered pace today. Poet Adair Henry from Hodge Hill recited her poem, which champions the city, and she explained why she felt Birmingham is unique.
If you didn't already know, big things are happening in Brum. You can cuss our accents or call it the slum, but if you open your eyes long enough not to shun, you'll realise we're more than the punchline of your bad jokes. Birmingham! Stop it. We're writing the jokes now and demanding the stage. I think it would be nice for the Midlands to have, you know, a massive broadcasting house, especially like Channel 4, whose, you know, shows all are so young, they're dynamic, the stories are very unique to other channels, and I think Birmingham and the surrounding cities are like that in England. We're unique compared to, say, the north or the south.
So let's see what the weather has in store for the Midlands. With the details, here's Des.
Hi, great to see you. Thanks for joining me for your overnight weather. We've got a starry night sky as temperatures really take a tumble. Now, this afternoon, we did see some snow showers, actually. They will continue for a little while. But as we push forward into the next few days, what does our weather story have to tell us? Well, I'll put a bit more detail on that. You can see this system right here. By the time we get into Thursday, that's really going to play into our weather. I think we're going to see cloudy conditions and a little bit of rain. By the time we get into Friday, high pressure is playing a part in our weather. That's going to clear the skies. I think Wednesday, I should say, is going to be dry and bright. Thursday, we've already spoken about. And then once we get to Friday, again, high pressure plays a part in our weather. I think we're going to see some clear skies. I think we'll see dry conditions. All these days that I'm talking about are going to be very, very cold. Temperatures way under par for where they need to be for the time of year. So on to tonight's weather story. I think wildly mild, -2, -3 is what we can experience. Frost, ice is what we'll see, and then we'll wake up tomorrow morning in the clear skies that gave us those weather conditions for tonight. I think we'll keep for when we wake up tomorrow morning. So bright sky, dry weather, a decent day, if not a little bit cold. You'll have to wrap up nice and warm. Temperatures around 5 degrees, light winds. Make the most of it because Thursday is cloudy, like I say, and damp.
Roll on spring. From the late team, good night.